Analysis with pandas. What is pandas? So pandas is an open source Python library providing high performance data manipulation and analysis tool using powerful data structures. So basically, you mentioned powerful data structures. So two powerful data structures are used over here. One is single dimensional, another is two dimensional. Okay, it's given multi-dimensional here, but multi-dimensional data structure is now removed from the pandas. It's now available with single dimension or two dimensionals there. In 2008, developer Wes McKinney started developing pandas when need of high performance, flexible tool for data analysis of data. From last 12 years, now pandas has become the number one choice among the data analysts to do the data structured data analysis onto it. Now, prior to pandas, Python was majorly used for data munging and preparation, but it is very little contribution toward data analysis. So pandas has solved this particular problem. Okay, so we can accomplish 5 typical steps in processing and analysis of data, regardless of the origin of data. So 5 operations are possible with the help of the pandas package here. First is loading a data import that we call. So before actually you have to apply operations onto it, we have to import that data. So data can be of any format. 22 different file formats are there which are supported by pandas, which we can use directly. You can use to load the data into the Python program, prepare the data, prepare it, just like operation that we have seen in data cleaning. Okay, data cleaning is the data preparation operation, actually that is done with the help of pandas. Then data manipulation. Data manipulation, now data manipulation, you convert data from one kind of format to another, or you can attach something, you remove something, you summarize that data, you perform some aggregate operations onto it. All that operations are possible with the help of pandas. Then model building, basically whole model building is not possible. We need to apply some machine learning algorithm, and every machine learning algorithm can use or uses basically pandas data structure to build the data model or machine learning model onto it. And the fourth task is analyze, data analytics, structured data analytics that we can do with the help of the pandas. So many such functions are there, more than 450 functions are present. I'll take overview of very important and basic function that we use in data analysis using pandas. Okay, so Python with pandas used with wide range of field, including academic, commercial domains, finance, economics, statistics, and analytics. Almost everywhere where the structured data is available or present, will be using pandas to perform operation onto it. So what are the features? I'll summarize all. Like data frame object is there, a new data structure that is present. I just have shown in the previous session also. We'll talk more about in detail. Data frame is a tabular structure data set which is specially created for pandas. Then it contains the tools for loading data into memory from different file formats. 22 different file formats are there which we can read to load the data using pandas. Then data alignment, missing, handling the missing data, all that things are possible. Then we can reshape or we can pivot the data sets also. Even slicing, indexing, subsetting of large data set is possible. That also we'll see practically here. We can column from data structure that can be deleted. We can insert it, can remove deletion and insertion. So all that operations are possible. Replacement of column is also possible. Even aggregation, transformation we can do. Merging, joining. Okay, merging, joining. Merging means column merging, joining means row joining. Like that's possible. Time series abilities are given. So lot many different. Even one thing is not mentioned. Data visualization is also possible by using pandas. That also we can do directly. Pandas also contain the visualization method by which we can visualize your data in different kind of the graphs here. Fine. See, so once you install the Jupyter notebook or when you install the Anaconda, internally your pandas package is present and it's available there. I'm using Linux operating system here. So generally I don't install Anaconda. I separately install the package by using the functions which are mentioned over here. Okay. So before proceeding, uh, pandas internally having two data structures present here. First is series, second is data frame. Series and data frame. And these are created using the NumPy array. So whatever numerical Python we have seen, so using that concept, the series and data frame are created. Okay, so these are the special data structures which are used there in the pandas. Now let's see about the data structure. So the best way to think of this data structure is that higher dimension data structure is container of low dimension data structure, like Data frame is a container of series. Fine. Okay, a data frame is a container of series like that. So series is 1D, one dimension labeled homogeneous array. Homogeneous array. Now, we have talked, we might be knowing array already. Okay, so series itself in array, but it is immutable array. Like tuple is immutable in Python, remaining others are mutable. Every other data structure is mutable. We can change the content. Tuple is immutable. Tuple content can't be changed. Now, like array is also mutable, but series is immutable. It's a collection of homogeneous, same kind of data elements are present there in that the series. And collection of columns, series columns is called as data frame. Data frame is two-dimensional, labeled, size is mutable, tabular data structure with potentially heterogeneous type of columns. Means first column numeric, second is floating point, third is string, next is boolean. That's what heterogeneous types are present there. So if you want to use your data in the structured format inside the Python, so we need to use the data frame to store that data. And whatever operation we perform, that's what they are present in the data frame format. Let's go in detail. Series is like this. Series is a one-dimensional array-like structure with homogeneous data. For example, the following series we can see 10, 23, 56. So they are stored integer series. All elements are integer, just like array, numpy array. Series is homogeneous. But homogeneous size is mutable and values of data are mutable. Size immutable, the values are mutable. Size you cannot change, you cannot increase or decrease that content. And second is data frame. So data frame is a two-dimensional array with heterogeneous data. Different collection of data are present, but individual column is containing same kind of the data present inside it. Just like a table we can see over here. Roll number is numeric, name is uh, string, and marks are in float format. Fine. And the data is represented in the rows and columns. Each column represents attribute and each row represent one person. One attribute and one row is containing person and the description of that person with roll number, name, and marks. Fine. Yes. So what type of columns are there? You can just check it out. Roll number, whole or integer. If you change single element, whole element data type will change. Just like array. Name is string, which is called as object actually. So string such a data structure is not there. It's called as object. Object means anything. So object. And marks are in float format. Fine. So just key point are heterogeneous data, size mutable, data is also mutable. Means we can change the size, we can change the content present inside this also. Okay. So to create the series object, basically we are having the series named class in Python in pandas, and with the help of that series class, the series can be created, and from series the data frames can be created. Basically, we don't create like that. We generally perform the operation of reading the data and separating them. Let me show you how to create the series and what are the steps that we need to follow to create the series object over here. Okay, so check it out. I've created a new file, and here I'll show you first data structure, which is created with the help of the pandas object. So let's import the pandas. So basically, if you have seen the NumPy is given an alternative name alias as NP. Like that, pandas also contain an alias called as PD, short name, which is used by data scientists. We also use the same name there. Now, okay, one more I'll import. Import NumPy as NP. Okay, so two we have created, and now if I want to create an array like a is equal to np dot array, I just create some array of elements here. Okay, a is array. If you check the type of a, it is what numpy n dimensional array is. Property of array is all elements are of same type. Now likewise we can create a series also. So to create the series, let's see, b is equal to, but you can check the difference between them. The similarity is that series and array both allow same kind of data element present in it. And here series is the class. You can see this. This is your series. All elements are of same type. That is integer 64. You can see this. And if you check the type of it, it is the object of class series. Pandas.core.series. These are the packages, sub package. This one, and series is the class which is present whose object is B. Okay, series. So its size is immutable. It cannot increase the size of series. Its extra element cannot be added. Remember, values can be changed, but size we cannot change it. This is how the series are created. And then the second data structure that we call as a data frame. So data frame is the collection of the series. Means I want to create a table. So to create that table, I want to create a collection of series or collection of list or collection of arrays also. That's also possible to perform operation. Let's see the data frame now. So I'll create a small data frame. So let's see C is equal to PD dot PD is the pandas object data frame, and internally I can assign one by one column. Let's say, for example, first column is role colon. I'm passing a dictionary to it, role colon, and there I'll apply some roll number. 4 roll numbers I have given. Okay, and then I'll apply the name. Okay, see, means multiple, as I told, heterogeneous element. So two different lists I am passing. Okay, see this. Two-dimensional means we are having the row and columns, number of rows and columns. So here, these are the column names which I have passed here. Length of them should be same here. And one more thing, whatever you pass after that, it can be of any time. I am passing a list here. We can pass series, we can pass array, you can pass tuple also. Okay, but it should be of same type. That's the main requirement. And this way, the table is created. This is how we can create a manual table. And if you see the type of this C, so it's a object of pandas.core.frame. So inside this subpackages, data frame class is present, whose object is C. Okay, fine. So this is the method that we use to create a data frame. So data frame and series two are there. Even in data frame is a collection of series also. Wait a minute, I'll show you. For example, okay, wait a minute. This one I'll just check it out. See, for example, if I create this series here, S1 is equal to PD dot series of these values, and S2 is equal to PD dot series of, okay, so these values will take here. Fine. So two series object I have created, and I want to create a data frame of them. So D is equal to PD dot data frame of S1 comma S2. See. Okay, wait a minute. It's in there. I need to apply. Column names are not given. Role is S1 and name is S2. Column names I assigned now. Now I can check this. Okay. Role is S1. First series will be in S1. Second is name. This is common idea. So they are connected to each other. Series and data frame are connected to each other, but primary data analysis we can do on series also, and we can do on data frame also. So most of the function that we use to do analysis on the data, so they are connected with series also, and they are connected with data frame also. Fine. Okay, so this is how the data structures which are used here in the pandas. Okay, series, we created series, and the data frames also, that's what we can create. Like that is a method. I just shown all that, just a simple overview of all of these elements I've taken, and with the help of it, we can perform many different kind of operations. So now let's go ahead with reading the file now. So check this. So if I want to do the data analysis on a specific kind of file, so I can use the functions. So there are many different functions are present, which we can use to perform the operation of reading the data. So as I told, first method, load the data. So whenever you have to do data analysis on any kind of data, so we have to load the data inside the program. So to load that data, there are many read functions present, which we can use to read the data from a CSV file in your code. So in the previous session, I will use a CSV file called as student.csv. So this I can use over here. And with this particular file, I can read the data. Let's see that. Okay, before that, I just want to wait a minute. The data which I have used there, So that data was not perfectly present there. I need to rectify that. Means it was having some entries which were missing. Okay, so that missing entry we need to recover. Even we can use the same problem there, but I want to apply some functions. That's why data should be in some random format. Okay, just a minute. I'm just opening that file over here. Wait a minute. The student.csv file, which we can read it here. Yeah, wait a minute. It's opening. Yeah, it's opened here. So I'll rectify all the entries properly, and then we'll read this data, and then we'll perform some small analytical functions onto it. Just a minute. Yeah, it's done. And now let's read the file. Just a minute. Okay. So as I told, multiple different file formats are there, which we can read over here. So out of it, CSV is a common method. So I'll use df is equal to PD. PD is pandas. And under pandas, we are having multiple read function. If it is visible to you, you can check it. Read, clipboard, CSV, Excel, feeder, FWF, GBQ, HDF, HTML, JSON. See, multiple different file formats are there, which we can use. 22 common formats are there, which we can read to for operations. Generally, we use CSV and Excel file. So read underscore CSV. Okay. So this function is to load the data inside the code. So in machine learning also, whenever you are performing operation on building a machine learning model, you have to use this function to read the data, CSV file. So file name is student.csv. Check this out. And if I use this df, see, the file is present over here. Name, role name, class, marks, and age. Okay, can check it out. So this is what the file is present. Complete file can be read and can be stored in the CSV file format. Now the function that we can use over here, it's not compulsory to use exactly in the same way. There are many many abilities are given there. By using that, we can read it. For example, I want to read a file which is present at some location, some on URL it is present, and I want to download from there. Live downloading. For example, there's a data set called as Titanic Survival data set. Titanic Survival, very common data set that we can download from here. See, and I want to load this file in my code, and there is some location present. For example, here, for example, okay, this data set is available on the Stanford University's website. For example, just like it contains some URL given to it, and that URL, from that you can directly download. Now I can check it. So okay, see this file. If you check the link below, it contains a link there. I want to download this file completely. So I just what can do? I'll right click on this file, and I'm copying the link of it, and I want to download this file from the Stanford University's website directly in my Python code. Okay, in my Python code. So how to do this one? I just copied that URL, and I'll show you that one also. Now see, df is equal to pd.read underscore cs. So not always like you need to have a downloaded file. See, I have copied and pasted it here from Stanford University's website. This URL I have copied and I have pasted to read CSV. Not compulsory should be CSV. You can use other file format also, and that function we need to use. Now see, I'm executing it. It will read that data from there and check it. See, complete data I downloaded. Survived, P class, name, sex, age, sibling, or parents, like many are. This is present there. I directly given the link and I have downloaded it. So it's not mentioned or not required that data should be present in current working directory. You can download from there. And even sometime it may also happen. Just check it. For example, I'm downloading a file from the given link, and that particular data which is present over there, it does not contain any kind of the columns. I'll show you that one. So I'll go to UCI machine learning repository, and from there, I very commonly data set that just I have told, and I want to download that file. So I can copy the URL of the iris. Okay, I can copy the URL of that iris dataset from there. See this. This is your iris dataset. Okay, data folder, and this is the link. I'll copy this link, and then I will use to download it from here. Okay, so let's download it. df is equal to pd.read_csv. So you just paste it here and download. The URL I have copied from that link, and from that I have to download this data set with me. So I'll just print it. See this. Now the problem here is that you can see the column names. Basically, the data set which is present on that link does not contain the column names. See, it does not contain the column names. So in that case, what to do? So this facility is also given over here. I can use this method to download the data, and I can apply the column names. You can see first entry is this one. Columns are not given there. So I just can mention the names of columns present here. Second parameter, comma. To this function, I'm passing another second parameter that is called as names, or I can use columns. Let's use columns. Sorry, names is equal to, let's say first column I will apply A, second column is B, third column is C, fourth column is D, then next column is E. What is missing? Something is not, yeah, curly brace, sorry, round bracket, and see this now. So I given URL, and that data which is passed, it does not contain the column name. So I have applied the column names to them. Okay, see this URL I have given, and in column names also I have assigned to them like this. So there are some, these are multiple ways, local downloading, online downloading we can use, or tomorrow I'll show one more way. Inbuilt data sets are also available, that also we can use in the CSV file format, or you can use in the pandas data frame file format also. Fine. So this is the way that we can use to access the CSV file and use it in the data frame format here. Okay, so I'm continuing with the student.csv here. Okay, so see this file, it's completely downloaded. Now, before actually using this file, we have to look into the structure of it. Different methods are chosen by which you can look at the structure of this file. Few of them we have seen the data pre-processing. I'll just revise them and we'll go in detail application of it. The first is how many number of rows and column it contains that we can find by this method. See, 10 rows and 5 columns are there. Okay, 10 rows and 5 columns. If you can observe that this output is in a tuple format, means it is not modifiable. 10 rows and 5 columns that I can that's are present there in the data frame. So 10 and 5. And now if I want to see the names of columns, so most of the time what happens, you are not knowing the column is containing somewhere space present. Before and after the space is there. Maybe it's possible there, but it's not visible here. You can check it out. It's not visible finally. So I want to check the names of the columns. There's an attribute called as columns. You can see the names of the columns present here. Okay, that's what is possible. Or okay, let's a minute. Actual data set I will show you. There's a data set called as Pima Indian Diabetes. Sorry, Pima Indian Diabetes not there. Wine class data set is present. If you just check this data set here, I'm already having that data set with me. Wine classification data set. And you can observe the names of the columns here. Good. Perfect names are there. Okay, perfect names are there to the columns. But remember, column names is having some discrepancies there, which is not visible here. I want to check the names of the columns. So I can make use of columns attribute. And you can observe now, this column contains a space before its name. See this. Okay, this ash, this total phenols. Space is there before that names. Here no space is present. So to identify, because most of the time we use column name and we forgot to write that space, but we get an idea why the problem is like this. Okay, why the problem is there, we don't know. Because of this, there's a space present and we can recognize that space by using this particular method of reading the column names here. So you can identify the names of the columns by using the columns attribute. Now I want to see the snapshot of the data, how exactly the data is stored in it. I want to check first 5 entries and last 5 entries present in this data set. So there is a method which is used in data frame that is called as the head that I can use. Df dot head. Now see, first 5 entries are shown over here. Okay. Top 5. Check it. Head method is used to perform these operations. Or if I want to use top 6 entries here, I want to check top 6 entries. I don't want top 5. So I can just pass 6 here. Okay, so it's up to you. I want a snapshot of data set because most of the time what happens again when 10,000, 20,000, 1 lakh entries are present, that case it becomes very, very difficult to go through the data set and check out. So that case head method will help you to do this one. Or if I want to check the last 5, so just inverse of head method we can apply. So inverse of head method is the, what we say, inverse of head method is tail. So df of tail. See, last 5 entries we can see. Check this. Last 5 entries we can observe. And you can identify, yeah, data is looking good. Starting also good, internal last is also good. And after that, by summarizing many entries there, we can just perform specific analytical operation onto it. Okay, that's what is possible that we can perform the operations with this. Okay, fine. So check head and tail. Here also tail we can pass some number like 4. So only last 4 entries we can see over here like this. So these methods are useful. These methods are useful to check the snapshot of the data that we use over here. Now, let's go for the very important operation to extract the specific columns. I want to extract a specific column. We call it as a slicing. Okay, so slicing operations we will talk about how to do this one. Most of the time, I want to access the specific rows and specific columns. Okay, I want to extract specific rows and specific columns, so we can make use of a slicing mechanism there. Most of the time, to build a data model, we don't require all the columns. We have to use a specific column or specific rows to perform operation there. Okay, so that time we can make use of a slicing mechanism. So there's a first slicing method which we apply. It's called as iloc. Iloc means indexed location. Index location which is used. By using index location, I can access specific row or specific column. Now how to do this one? Let's see. See, I just given mentioned df.iloc, and inside that the syntax is something like this. In square bracket, I have mentioned before comma colon, and after comma a colon is given there. Fine. After comma and before comma a colon is mentioned. So before comma, we have to specify the range of rows, and after comma, you have to specify the range of columns. Using that, we can specifically extract the row and column over here. How to do this? For example, row number 2 to row number 7. If you know the range function in Python, maybe in Python session you have observed that range function is there. It does not consider the higher bound. So 2 to 7 number rows I want to extract, and column 1, 2, 3. Check this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These rows I have extracted exactly. And column number 1, 2, and 3. As I told, higher bound is not considered. Its value will be n minus 1. See this. This is called a slicing. Okay, which are extracted, and even you can save in a variable also. See, I saved, extracted that data, sliced the data, and I have stored in the variable x, which is also a data frame. So a sub data frame I have created with the help of this particular concept of index location. But this is very, very useful data extraction, data slicing method is present that I can use. Let's see this. I'll show you. Any one of this number can be deleted. For example, 2 onwards, all the rows I want to consider. So I'll just delete this 2 colon end, till end it will go. 2 colon end, all the rows are extracted. See, they are copied, printed over here. Okay. Or I want from start till 7th row. Start is not mentioned over here. So just colon empty colon 8. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Till 7th row, these elements are extracted. So initial I am not mentioned there. Same will happen for columns also. Like 1 onwards, all the columns I have to extract. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 I have taken. 0 is discarded. So before comma, set or a sequence of rows we need to mention. And after comma, we have to write the set of columns that we have to mention there. Exactly by following this method, we can extract the data and it's printed here on the screen. So it's up to you. How do we use it? Okay, for example, I just want everything empty. So all the rows, and from one column, I want all the rows are all, but column number 1 onwards all. I don't want to use the roll number here. So roll number discarded, and from 1, 2, 3, 4. Columns are considered, taken in the consideration. Fine. So this is what we call as the slicing, data slicing, data frame slicing that we use. And when the slicing is applied, we can create a sub data frame from the same. Not only data frame, but if you want to extract a specific row or specific column. For example, for row number 2 to 7, I want to extract their names. So names is column number 1. Okay, 2 to 8, comma. So before comma, as I told, it's a set of rows, and after comma, it's a column. If I execute it, you can see row number 2 to 7th, name column only I'm extracting. Column number 1, which is not containing a sequence present over there. Check this. 2 to 8 and exactly column number 1 we have extracted. And we can save it, but the problem is that this is a series of data actually, which is extract from it. Can just check it if I store that in S variable, and if you check the type of S, so it's a series. Fine. Single column I'm extracting. If I want a single row to extract, for example, I want to extract the row number 5. Row number 5, all columns. See this. 5, row number is given, comma, colon empty, means all the columns I want for row number 5, not roll number, row number 5. So row number 5 is this. Role, name, class, marks, and age. So in this way, specific slicing that you want, so that we can apply, not limited to that. So slicing is not limited. Slicing is having very extended abilities present over here, because being a part of data slicing, data loading, it's very important to note that data analysts can require the data in any format. So all that format are covered over here. Let's go for the second format which we use basically here. Second format is I don't want the name of column, number of column. I want to extract the column by names. So to extract the column by name, I'll be making use of the lock function there. So this df dot lock all the rows, and I want name column here. See, check it. I don't want number. I want name column. So extract it. Lock, LOC is used for that. Even row also can contain the names. Their names can also be used, but this example does not carry it. Or if I want to extract a set of rows, for example, I want name, and along with that, I want marks to extract. See, df.lock, lock means location, all the rows, and 2 columns I want to extract, that is name and marks. They're extracted from here, name and marks. So 2 columns I want to know. So this is the method that I can use to perform operations with, to know about it. Now see, another method. I want a specific number of rows or columns. Specific, don't want in sequence. So let's see. So I want row number 2, 5, 7, and 8. And all the columns. Now check it out. The numbers of rows I mentioned there, 2 in the list format. We know the list format, 2, comma 5, comma 7, comma 2. List is mentioned. So that exactly that rows are extracted. So before comma, this row sequence is given, and after comma, I'm giving the column sequence. So column sequence can also be given. So just like I'll copy it. See this. Here mentioned column number 2 and 4. Row number 2, 5, 7, 8, and column number 2 and 4 I just given there. And accordingly, the data I got extracted from it. See this. Fine. Even if you know the range function, so that range function can also be applied. See, can check this. I'll apply the range 1 to 5. See, 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Only exactly that rows are extracted. 1, 2, 3, and 4, because 5 is not considered in range function. As you know in Python, the same idea is applied over here. Correct? So randomized sequential function created, any way we can follow to extract the data. So second, I just have told about the lock, which is location name, sorry, which we can apply, and exactly one row or one column we can extract from the same data set here. Fine. So this is lock ilock. One more thing to note, if I want to extract the all rows of the column, exactly single column I want to extract, and I want to use it for data analytics. So I don't want lock always. So see, directly df of name, just like in previous example I've shown to you, df and square bracket you have to pass the name of the column. So that exactly that column I'm extracting, you can check it out. Fine, exact series object I want to extract. So you just apply that, this method. And if I want to apply multiple, so just put in the double square bracket there. I want to apply, extract the name, comma, marks. Now see, list of column names I have passed, list of column names. And you can see that now two columns are extracted and they are printed over here. Fine. So lock is not required. Lock ilock is not required. If you want to add, extract the whole columns, so you can make use of this method there. Even one more method is there. If I want to exact single column, extract exactly single column, so square brackets are also not required. How to? Df dot class C. Just a minute. C is capital. Oh, sorry. What's the problem? My class is not taking. Sorry, class is a keyword actually. That's why it's not taking it there. Fine. So name, see, df dot name dot square bracket lock ilock dot. So many such methods are there which we can use to extract that values. So whichever you require, you extract it, you separate it. In machine learning, we need to separate input and output variable. Just like in yesterday's session, I told about dependent and independent variables. So that dependent and independent variables can be separated with the help of this particular methods here. Okay, even one more method is there. Let's talk about it. The method is like key on 5 columns are there, and out of 5 columns, I don't want class column. Remaining columns I require. I want to extract the all columns except the class column. So 0, 1, third column or 2 column is not required. 3 and 4 will require. So it will be a combination. You will assign the numbers or names there. So other than doing it, I can use a method by which you can perform this kind of task. Df dot drop. Okay, first we'll see about the rows. We just can check. If I write 4, so row number 4 will be deleted. You can see 3 and 5 are there directly. Row number 4 is not taken in consideration. It's discarded here, discarded from here. Okay, deleted. Okay, or if I want multiple rows to get discarded, 4, 7, and 9, I don't require that. So 4 is not there, 7 is also not there, and 9 is also not there. Drop. Remaining data I want to extract. Fine. So this is what the row extraction is done. We discard some set of rows, and remaining rows we are taken in consideration. If I want to do the same task for the class, now see in data analysis, basically in pandas, there is a concept called as axis, because we have two dimensions here. This is the only data structure which contains two dimensions. Matrix also contains it, but the problem with matrix is that whether you apply row or apply column, they are same data type. Here is not the case. Row type is different, column type is different, and every column different types are there. So the concept of axis is used over here. Axis, two kind of axes are there: horizontal axis and vertical axis. If a method is performing operation on horizontal axis, so you can change it to vertical axis. And if the method is performing operation on vertical axis, I can convert to horizontal axis. How to? So let's see. df.drop. I want to drop the column name, class column. Here you have to pass second parameter. So many such functions in Python programming language contains the axis parameter there. With the help of this axis parameter, I can convert horizontal axis to vertical axis to horizontal axis. So currently we are performing row operation. So I want to make it column operation. So pass the parameter axis is equal to 1. So it was deleting a row, now it is deleting column. df.drop class axis is equal to 1. So class is not present over here. You can see remaining others are deleted. Okay. And if I want to do multiple drop, so I can use df.drop. Use a list of columns, class and age. See this. So class and age are dropped, remaining other are taken. This happens very commonly because in data analysis, we have to read the data, and if 100 columns are there, out of that 62, 65, 82, 91, 32, 39, 46 column I don't require. Then what to do? It will be very complex to perform operations in that case. So we used to drop that. Even rows also, you can drop that. Just like drop NA we have seen, not available, dropped. Here also you can make use of it. Directly the specific rows we can drop, specific columns you can drop, and remaining column will take in the consideration. This is what we call a data slicing. Okay. So slicing method by which we just apply the methods and extract the data which is required for your machine learning model, or you can do any data analysis based on that ahead of it. Okay, that's how we can perform the operations with. And along with that, many different kind of functions are present. Many different kind of functions or different kind of attributes are present that we can use over here. Let's see few of the attributes and few of the function to analyze the data thoroughly from different kind of angles. Now see, some functions require the data to be in the transpose format, means row to column and column to row. Maybe some functions are not applicable to the rows, and some function not applicable to columns. So what to do? We have to transpose it. We have to convert data columns to rows and rows to columns. So see this one. T, df.t, I applied it and you can check it. Transpose directly, row have become column and columns have become rows. T dot capital T in talking about, so transposing it. So in future also, whenever you have to transpose that data and perform specific operations, we can use this method to perform operations on that. Even sometime it will be very confusing to check the data type of it. So you can use D types to check data type of every variable. See, every column series is, as I told, it's a set of homogeneous elements. So these homogeneous elements we can find by this method. See, role, name, class. So role is integer, name and class object. Object means string. Object is a combination of anything. Okay, marks is float, age is integer 64. You can check up data. You can ensure, yes, these element are number, these element are string, using the D types present over there. Even we can use size. See how many element are there, count. You can see the same output is given by the len also. So len shows columns, sorry, rows actually. Total number of rows present here. Size will show total number of actual values present. So 5 into 10, 50 values are there. And length of data frame is 10. There is number of how many rows are present inside it that we can see. And one more thing, most of the time when machine learning algorithms are getting involved, we require the data to be in the array format. I require the data to be in array format. So to convert the data from series to array, I can make use of an attribute called as values. So it's a part of practical again. Most of the time, some machine learning algorithm doesn't take the input as data frame or series. They should be containing ND array. So let's see, for example, df of marks. What is that? It's a series object. Complete. You can say series A. But I don't want that in series. I want that in array format because data types plays very important role in data analysis. So see, values. Now you can see result, output of it. Marks is shown in the series. And now if you write out values, it will put into the arrays format. Not only single column, but if you apply to the whole, so see the complete data is converted into array format. This is showing array. It's an array of list. First, second, third, fourth, fifth array of list is created. Okay, so values is used to perform this specific kind of operation here. Okay, by which you can convert the data from one kind of format into another kind of format present over here. Likewise, okay, these are the attributes basically, and we can have some set of functions also. Okay, we can make use of some functions, some methods by which the structured data analytics is possible. See, it's very interesting to see that we don't have to write the complex codes to perform the operations onto it. Let's see. For example, I want to calculate the average of the marks. So you can use mean. See, mean, or I want to do addition of all. So df of marks dot sum. Or many such methods are present that I can apply. I'll just show you quickly. So it's not required to write any complex algorithm for that. Most of the time we can use this method very, very effectively. So mean, sum, max, mean, or what are the others? Yes, median. Median. It's the middlemost element that we can see. Direct functions are there. So don't try to write any complex logic to perform the operation. Even we have seen one more, count. See, non-null values will be shown by this. Count. Observe the count. Okay, or if you want to find the standard deviation, which is required to know whether how much amount of deviation, average deviation present in the data set that we can find by using the df of mark.std method. Or there are some cumulative methods are also there, like cumulative sum. If you know cumulative sum, okay, so this method can also be applied. Cumulative sum method means first number is added in second, that is added in third, that is added in fourth, that is fifth, sixth, seventh, like all. Called as cumulative sum. Okay, so likewise, the different kind of such functions are present, and that we can use here to perform the operations of finding the numbers. Now, one thing to note: I'm applying these functions on the individual column. Individual column. See, but if you want to apply then the whole data set, so we can make use of it. Now see, df of sum. This is very interesting to see. So addition or summation of all the element in the column are done. See, all the roll numbers are added. All the names are added. So basically addition of string is concatenation that you might be knowing in Python or in class also. Here, everyone, all they're added. But some functions are applicable only to the number. See, mean, it cannot take the mean of name. It cannot take the mean of class. Correct. But the mean values of all of them are extracted. But you can identify the max. Okay, so maximum of name is Ayesha here. Because AY is there, containing the highest number in the sequence. T is highest class, marks highest, like all. So these are the cumulative functions that we can use, you can directly apply, and specifically you can read the structure of that particular data, how exactly it's present, and many more. Now, some functions are there which are used to summarize the data. Out of it, we have seen two functions already in the data preprocessing task. See, the function is describe. So describe function is used to summarize the numerical properties of this data. Now check it out. How many elements are there? First, then average of every point, mean, then the deviation of all, standard deviation of all. See this, or minimum of all. Fine. Then first quartile value, that's 25%. Then median, 50%. You might be knowing 50% quartile is the median, 75% quartile is this, and maximum value is this in all. So common idea, common structured, common distribution of the data can be seen by this particular method. One common observation I'll tell you. See, if this mean and median are almost same, then we can call them the data distribution is normal. See, mean 5.5, median also 5.5, means the data is in sequence. Data is in sequence. Roll number and sequence, correct. Marks 65.77 and mean is 66.39. Okay, data distribution is normal. For age 20.90 and 21 is almost same, mean and median. So data distribution is normal. So when a normal distributed data is there, on that data, machine learning algorithm perform very perfectly. That is my observation. And in machine learning books also, you can read out the similar kind of ideas present there. Okay, fine. So this is the function which is used to summarize the data set over here. Fine. Okay, now let's go. Second method is info. See, information. What's the range index? 0 to 9. Okay. And individual columns. What we have seen? We have seen this count separately. We have seen this D types separately. This is summarizing altogether. So total non-null entries are 10 here. For this 10. For this 10, 10, 10, and these are the data types present here. So you can summarize. So you can completely look at the structure of this particular data by following the specific method that we can use, that we can perform the operations onto it. Fine. Okay. Look at that. So df.info method is used to summarize, info and describe. These are very commonly method that I use and by which you can identify what pattern, what sequence, what trend is present inside the data by this method. Okay. Now let's see a few more kind of operation. For example, if I want to apply a specific kind of operation on all the elements there. Let's see, for example, df of mass. I'll show you example, then we'll talk about it. Dot apply okay. Now see, I want the marks to be in 10 format. I want to reduce from 100% to 10%. Out of 10, how much marks are there? So this apply method is used for that. This is very special and applicable method. You might be knowing the lambda function. Lambda is the anonymous function in Python. So it is this apply function used to apply the lambda function to every individual element, every individual row basically. So every row I have taken as marks. So for first marks is taken, divided by 10. Second marks taken, divided by 10. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, my God. See, one by one marks is taken and I am dividing it by 10 completely. So the apply function is to apply same kind of data, same kind of operation to all the elements. So accordingly that we can modify it. For example, if I want to save it there, like I just can use CGPA, okay, fine. And then I can use it. So you can check it out. See, extra column is added here. GPA. So what I done, I just divide this number by 10. It's not an actual formula, but just for practice, I just shown. Extra column I'm adding. So use that column name and in front of this, give a set of elements. Either it's in array format, series format, list format, tuple format, but should be matching. Then only that extra column is added. Now see, I have converted that marks into GPA format. Okay, like dividing by 10, just an example. Okay, this is how the extra column, extra ability can be given to the function also, and we can use this particular operation to perform many other kind of operations here. Fine, see, it's done. Now I want to see the complete data into the sorted format. So I can use sort two methods are there. Let's use sort by values. Sort by index is already there. These are the index, they are already sorted. But if I want to sort by value, so I just apply by is equal to, for example, I want to sort these names by marks. See, marks. Lowest marks is here. 56, 56, 58, 59, 65, 67, 68, 69, 76, 78. Yes, all they are sorted. And after that, I want top five. That's we can use head method to apply it. And one more thing, I want to perform the descending sort onto it. So to do the descending sort, here I'll use the ascending is equal to false. Yes, check it. Ascending, I'm making false, and now 78 is highest, then 76, then 69, then 68, then 67. Like all, we'll go on performing operations. So this is what the methods are there that we can use. And even another criteria can also be applied. Means, for example, I want to make use of first column marks and second column is also there. So many such modifications and can access and use that data multiple ways. So as per the requirement of data analytics, we can do it. Marks, and then second column is age. Means first by marks and then by age. Means when the marks are same, then age will be considered. Okay. Actually not changing there. So what we will do, we'll take age first and then marks. Okay. Yes. When the ages are same, see 20 to 22, age is same, then marks is considered. 76 will go above and then 56. Or 21, 21, 21. So first 78, then 65, and then 69, 59. 20, 20, 20. So 69, then 67, and then 58. Like. So many such different methodologies, different ways, different functions, methods are there, which we can apply on the data set, data frame, and accordingly that we can retrieve the data from the data frame. Lot many, as I told, more than 450 different kind of functions are there that we can use to perform operations on it. Okay, three topics are there. Let's see this one. For example, I want to apply the string functions. String function. If any column is string, let's see, name is a string. So df of name, see, and somewhere you require this data to be in some different format. Means I want this data to be in uppercase format. Maybe if you require that somewhere, see that. Df of name dot str dot upper dot str, and after that we need to pass a function. That function will transform, convert that data into the uppercase. Now see, so many such string functions are there. Like you can find the length, you can split it, you can concatenate it, you can check it's containing something or not. Like, okay, so let's see a few more. Like I want to find the length of them. See, or I want to add the length of name. See, name, lane. Okay, so that column I need to add, and their lane should be present for the specific data frame. You can see this. Now name lane is added, and this length, whatever I calculated, is attached to the columns name lane is there. Check it out. Fine. So any sort of operation that you want, you add it. It's possible there. You just have to modify, you have to analyze this data, perform operations, create your data frame. So many such methods like replace, repeat, count, starts with, ends with, find, swap case, is upper, lower. All these methods we can apply to the data frame for the string data specifically that we can use there. Now, let's see the concept we call it as the Boolean filtering. Now see, we have seen the slicing of data. So slicing of data is done with the help of the row and column numbers. We apply the row and column numbers, accordingly we slice it. But what I want to extract the data from or using the values. Values. See, for example, I want to extract the student whose marks are greater than 60. Now see. So wherever the condition is matching, it shows true. Where it's not matching, it's showing false. Correct. True and false are there. So this is called as a filter. This is called as Boolean filter. And this Boolean filter, I will apply to the index of data frame here. Df of, so in this square bracket, I apply this filter. Now check it out. I'll get the information about the student who got the first class. It's called as Boolean filter. See that. Boolean filter. Ready? We extracted it. So here we pass that true and false. So where the true is written, remember this is very, very essential method. I use this method to extract the data from clusters, to extract the data from different analyzed data already. That's also, it's very commonly used Boolean filtering method. Not only single, but multiple different conditions can also be added. Let's see that example. So here I apply the first method in round bracket, and sorry, not this, and we'll use the Boolean and df of class. Let's say for B, I think 4 are there, 5 are there, only one is T, is BE. Now see, all are B and all are first class. Exactly. This is called as Boolean filtering. So according to the values, we can extract the data. We can analyze it. We can store that data into in another variable. Let's see, for example, FC, that is first class. Okay, first class. You can see first class information is extracted and stored in the variable FC. FC is also a data frame. It's also a data frame in which we store this particular element, and you can observe that it's extracted from here. So Boolean filtering can be applied to extract data according to the values, not according to the column. So column or rows. So first of all, you can extract the column or rows, and then we can apply the values to it. Okay, Boolean filtering, and then you can extract. Okay, and one last topic. Whatever operation we have done, I want to store that data again in the data frame. After analyzing all, after reading all, after modifying it, after making of use of it, then we just have to store that data in a CSV file or an Excel file, whatever. Okay, so fc dot to. So here again we can use multiple methods to CSV. For example, I want to store it in output.csv, and I need to pass one parameter here. Index is false, which means that this is the index number, this one. These numbers will also get stored if you don't use this parameter, index false. So if I'm at index false, these numbers, row number will not be saved. Only remaining information will be saved inside it. So file is saved now. And once the file is saved, I can double click on that file. I can open it, and whatever the, okay, just a minute, I'll show you. Okay, the content which I've extracted in that data frame, and just have saved that in the CSV file. Even you can store an Excel file, so to Excel directly, to read CSV and to Excel. These two methods we can use by which the data can be directly saved inside the file. Okay, so these are the common method that we use. Just a minute, I'll show this file. It's opening. The content, whatever operation I have done, analyzed, whatever modification I have done, so all that I can permanently save. Not only that, HTML format also you can save. Even those who are working researcher, and they want to save in the LaTeX file format, that can also be used. LaTeX file format is also supported there. Even PDF saving is also possible. Just a minute, check it out. Now see, just a minute. This one. Yeah, see this. So this is your file. Whatever data we extracted, I have saved that in the CSV file format. That's it, simply. So many such functions are there that we can use to perform operation onto it. We can apply it. We can even many different kind of the clause that we have to work, or we have to extract the result from. So we just can apply it on the data frame like that. Many functions are there. It's not like limited with this. Okay, there's no any limitations to it. Any number of operations are there. All structured data analysis we can do with the help of the pandas. Okay, so I'll share this presentation with you. Few more topics are there in it. You can try by your own. Those are interested to work with the structured data analysis, because structured data analysis is required for machine learning very commonly, because machine learning, as I told already, that can be applied on the data which is in structured format. So for unstructured data also pandas is required. Remember. Okay, so that's from my side. If any questions or doubts, so you can ask. Just a minute, I got some questions.